Welcome to Apocalypse Tips with Lester Pipps. That's me. I am the one whose name is Apocalypse Tips. No, I'm just kidding. My name's Lester Pipps. The show's called Lester Pipps. No, I'm just kidding. The show's called Apocalypse Tips. I'm Lester Pipps. Let's get into it. What we do here on the show is very, very important, okay? We're talking about how you're going to survive an apocalypse. And as everybody knows, and if you know, then you do know, the most important thing about how you're going to survive an apocalypse is knowing what's important to you, right? You got to know what's important to you if you're going to be able to prepare to have it and make sure it happens in the future. So you got to think about it. What's the most important thing in the whole world? What's the thing we need to make sure we preserve for the future of humanity? And that is, of course, a Louisiana culture. Now, I'm coming to you from my bunker outside Baton Rouge, Louisiana, which is where this accent is accurate to. Please don't second guess it. And what I like to do is make sure I'm talking to folks about what matters. And what matters, as I said, is Louisiana culture. So, that one guy, Connor, something's in the chat. Nice to see you too. Missed you last week, bud. Good to have you back. Now, what if Louisiana culture is the most important thing, which it is, then obviously what we need to make sure we preserve is the recipe and all the necessary ingredients for Popeye's Louisiana chicken spicy chicken strips. You know this, Connor. Apologies, I was dead tired last week. Hey, man, everybody gets tired sometime. It's okay. I forgive you. I'm glad to have you back today. What I was saying is, you know already, Connor, that the number one most important thing is Popeye Louisiana chicken spicy chicken strip. So I don't have to tell you, but I'm telling everybody else. Now, another thing I should know, and this is hard for me to talk about. Oh, my camera angle's funky. I'm going to pull it down a little bit. Another thing to note is that, look, if you're thinking, wow, Popeyes isn't necessarily the greatest of businesses. They give money to the Donald Trump campaign. Yeah, I know that, which is why instead of buying the recipe, we're just going to steal it, okay? You got to get in there. You got to steal the Popeyes Louisiana chicken strip recipe. Send it to me. That way, we'll always make sure that in the future, after any kind of apocalypse, there's post-apocalyptic Popeyes Louisiana chicken strip. Now, I got a question for me in the chat, which comes from Dub Venture, who says, "Sandwich Man, what?" Well, I don't really know what that question means, but I'm going to go ahead and answer it. The what is... I think I understand. He's saying Popeye's sandwich rather than spicy chicken strips. Well, okay. Okay, I've been a part of this debate many a time. And let me tell you one thing. There's good sandwich at Popeyes, true. But the thing that's most Louisiana about Popeyes is damn spicy chicken strips. Now, the sandwich, sure, but they're just trying to get business off Chick-fil-A, which is good because Chick-fil-A, worse company than Popeyes. But we're trying to preserve Louisiana culture here, not knock off chicken sandwiches. So... Now, I do have a question in the chat from Victor Crack Cobain. He says, I was just in a Zoom with a guy that, oh boy, it's hard to read at this angle. Hold on. Let me move this over here, see if I can read it better. God, I know you all is really interested in what my setup looks like and how I can read or not. So I'm going to tell you about it. The way it is my Windows is all spread around. Dub Venture says, word gotcha. He's right. He or she, I don't know. They, whatever. Victor Crackle again says, I was just in a Zoom with a guy that weirdly looks like Lester. Much, much cuter, though. Oh, well, I know who he's talking about because people compare me and my publicist as reporter on Twitter, as reporter on Instagram quite a lot. And he is the cuter version of me. I agree. People say, wow, Lester, you look like if your publicist put on glasses and a jacket. And I say, I don't know what you're talking about. Now, we got a great show today, y'all. We got a great show today. My first guest is going to blow y'all away. You didn't even know he was going to be here. Let me tell you what, I wasn't 100% sure he was going to be here either, so I didn't market it properly. But my next guest after that is a great guest as well. I'm saving the first guest name just as a surprise, but we're going to build to it, you know. But the second guest name is Jenna Grace, and I'm excited to know a lot about Jenna Grace because right now all I know is Jenna Grace in the woods. And then after that, we got Rob Canterbury, who, I'm second guessing the name. I might have got it wrong. I think I got it right. But you know what? Regardless, we're gonna get to that and we're gonna find out what that means. But first, the first guest coming up in just a moment. Not right away, but just a moment after I got one more thing to do before we get to him. But the first guest, the one, the very only, the Jeffrey Goldblum. We got Jeff Goldblum on the show, y'all, and I'm very excited about that. But before we do, I did promise some folks that I would let them know about a very exciting event that took place for me this week, which is, y'all, I left the dang bunker. I left the bunker, okay? I stepped out. Now, everybody who's listening who already knows the show knows that I have not left the bunker since prior to lockdown in Louisiana, because I already knew that COVID was coming, and I was telling people for months that we got a big time COVID virus coming at us, and we got to make sure we's under the ground. So that's what I did. But this week I stepped out, okay? I stepped out because I heard that the LSU football Tigers might not be having a season. And I had to know for sure firsthand if there was going to be football in the SEC conference this year. And I know conference is the C in SEC, but it's very important to me that we know we're talking about a conference. So I say it twice. It wasn't a mistake. Now, I stepped out. I went down to the LSU football Tigers practice facility. I knocked on the dang door with my gloved up hands, because y'all know if you're going outside during this kind of COVID situation, what you got to do is wear big old gloves, big old hat, big old face mask, and oh my God, a visor. You gotta get yourself a visor. You might be thinking it'd be hard to see out of sunglasses and a visor. It's not. The visors are clear and the sunglasses are blue tinted, not blue blockers. Does that make sense? Like, I can see through these is what I'm trying to say. That made sense. So I went into there and I was like, hey, Coach Les Miles, I think he's still the coach. Coach Les Miles, is y'all going to have a season? And he wasn't there. I was talking to a janitor, and the guy said he didn't know. So moral of the story is, I don't know firsthand whether or not LSU is going to have a season, but I do know Big Ten canceled their football. Probably SEC is going to follow suit, which is real sad. But at the same time, people's got to focus on how they're going to get through this COVID situation. Now, how's it going to get a football season? You know what I'm saying? Well, I've rambled on just about enough, I think. So let's get the show going. Let's get these guests of mine out here. Let's get the guests we all so excited about. Get your questions ready for them in the chat, because you probably got them. Okay, I know. If you ever heard of Jeff Goldblum before, I'm sure you got questions you want to ask him, because dude is interesting. Give it up at home in front of your computer. Start clapping for Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum, please open up your camera. Join the old stream.
Hello, hi.
Hi,
Hello,
Jeff.
hi. Are we on, or is this rolling? Is this happening?
It sure is. Yeah, I'm very excited to have you on the show, Jeff. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a delight to be communicating with anybody in these trying times.
Yeah, how you been handling it? Is you downstairs inside your house? Is you in your own Bronco? What you got going on?
Well, should I say, I am deep beneath Silver Lake, buried. Well, actually, I'm in a bunker designed by the great old friend of mine, Frank Gehry.
Oh, wow.
So it's we have, of course, a few Klimps behind me. So it's a vision for myself. I like to enjoy it.
What does it say to you, Jeff Goldblum? What's that vision saying to you?
But this Klimp specifically?
Yeah, sure.
I would say, well, it's the water spirits. And to me, it's just sort of a vision of embryonic love and the safety of humanity covered with flowers and light. Can you see? That's
I'm looking
into
it. I see the flowers and the light. Oh yeah.
She's a seductive enchantress. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's Hey, every art speaks to people in different folks in different ways. You know, different folks.
Yes.
Different strokes.
Of course.
And when they say strokes, and they're talking about brush strokes. I
Oh, naughty. I see what you did there.
Oh yeah.
What are you drinking? What are you drinking?
What am I drinking? Well, I'm currently, a lot of the time, my listeners and watchers know that most of the time on the show I am drinking La Croix, just because that's what I stocked up on. But today I just got a normal water bottle, which you can't see because of the way that Zoom backgrounds work. There it is.
I love water, and I love LaCroix, and well, for that, I'm having sake myself.
Oh yeah, are you a big sake fan? Is that what's helping you get through the COVID situations?
Everything is getting me through COVID situations. Ideas, furtive pleasures. The specter of calamity in the distance is especially haunting. but I use, of course, sake, and I've had a few psilocybin adventures of the
Oh,
mind.
sure.
That's been
Sure.
especially effective.
That's shrooms, yeah.
That's the colloquial term.
Sure.
Uh,
So Jeff, you's down in your bunker looking at art, doing shrooms, drinking sake.
to put it simply, yes,
Wow,
yes.
that's a great way to spend it. That's a great way to spend some time alone. Now, are you down in the bunker by yourself? Or you got people with you?
I'm currently alone. Well, I have my child with me. The child.
Oh,
Mm.
wow. I didn't realize the child
When I
was the
was
son of Jeff Goldblum or the daughter.
Yes, well, we met on the set of one Marvel or Disney another. Is he? I think he's a Star Wars character.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, he's adorable, and he brings me comfort in dark times. Yes.
Well, that's great.
Well, it's just me and him, and he coos. Ready? Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
listen to those sounds. It's like a real baby.
Yeah,
Hi.
sure. Yeah, it's the real baby in a way.
A real baby. Yeah, when I was on shrooms, he talked to me. Um, he told me many things.
Was it mostly about big soup bowls?
No, he said, when I have seen by time fell's hand to face the rich proud cost of outworn buried age, uh, when sometimes I've seen lofty towers downraised, and brass, eternal slaves to mortal rage. He was quoting Shakespeare. It was just
Wow.
coming out of him, and I cried, and we bonded.
Wow. That's King Lear, if I'm not mistaken. Is that right?
I'm not sure.
Oh,
I
wow.
think it's a sonnet. Maybe
Oh,
it's in
okay. I
King
just I
Lear.
just picked something, to be honest. I don't know much about the Shakespeare myself.
I
More of
didn't
a
either until I looked up. I said,
music
are
guy.
these his words? Are these Baby Yoda's words? They are not.
They're not.
So,
No. Wow,
mm,
that's crazy. Why do you think Baby Yoda was saying that to you while you was on the shrooms with the?
well, I suppose the spirit of what the psilocybin does to the mind, shutting down the default mode network, awakening what those chimerical vituperations of the mind. You can't
Mm-hmm.
control what's going to happen there. You understand? This is a beautiful thing. I
Sure.
highly
Now that makes
suggest.
sense. That makes sense. Now,
You have a beautiful space for that. I think could be enjoyable in the white, all the white, and then the visuals.
oh, you talking about the bunker behind me? Yeah, I should let
Of
you know.
course.
A long time listeners know this, but I'll let you know that the bunker you see behind me is not actually my real bunker. I have a fake one displayed so that nobody gets jealous of how great my real one is.
My goodness, that is. I wish I had thought of that. Boy, I feel like a fool.
Well, no, yours is great. It shows off the art that you've been inspired by, and it makes
Nice.
it people want to feel at home with Jeff Goldblum.
Thank
People's
you.
big
Well,
fans of you.
I love to inspire, and I love to educate, and I love to evaluate and unspool ideas and information and bring them to more people. You would
Absolutely,
understand that, of course.
sure. That's what I do. I'm
That's what
making sure
you're
people
into.
get the idea. That's what I'm into. You're absolutely right. Now, speaking of people who's inspired by you, I do have a question for you from one of the folks in my chat here, which is
Oh,
that one guy,
sure.
Connor something. He would like to know. He says, "Mr. Goldblum, I'm fascinated by your relationship with your second wife, Miss Gina Davis.
Hmm.
Is it more difficult being in a
Oh.
celebrity marriage than being married to a non-celebrity?"
Well, I mean, Gina Davis is exceptional, especially, well, we had a wonderful time
Sure.
together. A lot of very, very intense moments of sensual pleasure, which I would recommend, especially for quarantine.
Mm,
Now's the time to really marinate in your partner. But celebrity does affect things. We were both very young.
hmm
We'd been we filmed The Fly together. We met on the set of The Fly. So right there, she had to look at me and all my horrible makeup, and she still, nonetheless, had a little crush. And then I hate to say it, but fame took me to Jurassic Park, where I met Laura Dern,
hmm
and I was enchanted anew. Yeah. So the short answer is, of course, it affects it. Don't If you want a simple love, maybe don't try. Maybe don't get famous. I don't
That
know.
makes sense. Yeah, no, that makes sense because I can relate to that because I actually now I am married to my wife,
Oh yeah.
who does consider us legally separated. And
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
well, that's okay because we're still married. I still love her,
Yeah.
you know, she was having a hard time with me because I was so focused on other things instead of her. I was so focused on
Your
making sure folks was
career,
ready for the
safe.
apocalypse. You know, so I think
Yes.
it's not quite celebrity, but you know, it is similar in a
What
way.
is the word? What does the word even mean?
Right, right.
Yeah, imagined things,
Sure. I mean,
orbiting.
I think it's kind of about just a word that means that hey, this person's real famous, you know.
Yes, I suppose. Yes.
Yeah, but you was gonna say something about orbiting, which is another way to put it, I think.
Oh, the orbiting satellites of illusion that is society. This is the things I'm coming to on my psilocybin adventures are.
Mhm.
I could eat them up forever.
Well, that's actually leads me to an interesting question, in my opinion, which is how you been eating in quarantine? You get good food down in the bunker that you got there?
Oh my gosh, I've become a sushi chef.
Oh wow!
I've I have all the equipment. I have a friend. Uh, we'll call him Sam Rockwell because it is. He brings me sashimi from the best Japanese grocery store in
Wow!
Los Angeles. Brings it straight in, and I thank him. We don't kiss on the cheek like we used to. I don't know,
Sure,
at a
yeah.
distance. And then I'm making these rolls. Very traditional, very delicious, and I'm adding it to my cooking oeuvre. And it's a wonderful experience. Are you cooking much? What are you doing?
Well, for the most part, I'm trying different recipes that get mailed to me that people claim are the recipe to the Popeyes Louisiana chicken spicy chicken strip. And every time I try it, I think
Oh,
to myself, well, this isn't quite right. But I am doing a lot of frying of chicken, eating of fried chicken, and then also, the things that I stacked up on before the apocalypse was water, mostly in the form of liqueur, and also cream corn. So I'm eating a bit of cream corn.
very contained, very, very specific diet.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, cream corn, chicken
Delicious.
water.
Sounds delicious. The fried. I mean, I've made a panko crusted diddly dad pork.
Mm-hmm.
You should try that maybe for some variation of on the rhythm.
Well, I see what
You know,
variety is the spice of life, as they say, but I'm trying to find the spice of Louisiana kitchen spicy chicken strip, so I'm not looking for that spice of life. But I appreciate what you're
you're just
saying.
trying. Yes.
That's just my one
Well,
singular focus, and I can't drop it. Or who would I be? Now, that one guy, Connor something, has another question for you, which is actually related to this conversation, and I wonder if that's because he's listening. Does Mr. Goldblum, which I think he means to just address this to you, and let me rephrase it as if it was addressed to you. Mr. Goldblum, do you eat much? Because you've not gained weight for the last 40 years.
that's a funny question. I do have a very specific and like regimented
Mm-hmm.
workout plan, but the secret is not very complicated. Some might call it the ketogenic diet. Some might say paleo. I don't like any of these terms. I just avoid sugar for the most part. Yeah, it's pretty easy. But you have to enjoy yourself. So I always have sake,
Mm-hmm.
and every once in a while I allow some white rice. I've come to my own conclusions about health and nutrition, but there's no starvation happening here. Not in the bunker, not ever.
Well, that's good news because the world can't afford to have you die from starvation. That'd be terrible.
I would never. Anyways, if you want to grow real muscle, you have to consume.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, your heart shrinks and you'll disappear. And
Wow.
that
Ooh,
would be
I never even
tragic.
considered that I might disappear. That's
And
scary.
then simply depriving yourself reminds me of a Marquis de Sade quote that it
Mm-hmm.
is always by the way of pain one arrives at pleasure. So
And that's the ghost of the Marquis de Sade in the show Mike Tyson Mysteries. On Is that right? He said that.
I'm not sure. Is this a
That's a real show.
I
Yeah.
no. I am just a fan of him for his sexual deviance, which I recommend.
Oh, sure. Yeah, on the show he's like that too. He's voiced by Jim Rash. Good show. Yeah, I don't want to say good show because I haven't seen it in long enough to know if it holds up, but interesting show for sure. But
Hmm.
I've noticed that you switched cups there, Jeff Goldblum. You got a different sake glass going on.
Well, I wanted more. I wanted more,
Oh.
and the small one wasn't cutting it. And I was excited about this new cup
Hmm.
that I had Sam Rockwell bring me from the shop.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
So Sam Rockwell's doing errand runs for you during quarantine, huh?
we're very good friends.
Yeah.
He's a real cad, a little bit of a tomcat, and we're friends. Yes, yes. He comes by. We talk through my gate, and
Hmm.
we have wonderful times.
Well, that's interesting. He goes out and does errands for you. Do you ever do errands for Sam Rockwell? Say he's inside his bunker. And he's like, "Hey Jeff, can you pick up something for me this time?" That ever happen?
No, but he does have me read him bedtime stories. So he calls me at night,
Hmm.
and I read him. I'm currently reading The Alchemist, and he
Oh
loves
wow.
it. He loves the course of the story, and he's like, "Jeff, go for a little longer. I'm not asleep yet." Jeff, I wish I could put a sleep timer on you, but sometimes I go too far, and I have to
Uh-huh.
go back in time. He says, "I don't remember this part," and it's a lovely relationship. He's truly a friend.
Oh, that's beautiful. You don't hear too often about two grown men reading each other bedtime stories, doing each other favors like that.
No, but we live alternatively.
Sure.
I'm enjoying a bewitching version of life. I don't boredom is not a thing. I won't grow up, not ever, not never. I'm Peter Panning, whatever you want to call it.
Well, hey, I'm glad you're enjoying life, and I'm glad it seems like the COVID situation hasn't affected you over much. But what would you say is the biggest thing that you're missing from pre-COVID life as Jeff Goldblum?
Oh,
Is it being on big movie sets, or visiting your favorite sake shop? What you thinking?
I do. I miss working, of course. It's always a delight. But can I be candid? Can I be a little naughty?
Please, I just want the truth.
Well, I actually enjoy orgies, to put it plainly. Um, Celebrations of the
Wow.
body is a more poetic version, but
Sure, sure.
but me and some friends, we get together and hmm, you know,
Sure. Now, I mean, I would never put you in a position to have to say something too detailed, but what's your favorite part of the orgy?
well, I'm a profligate Casanova, so I actually prefer. I like to be dominated. I want to be
Oh,
put in my place. I'm a very large man. I like to be made felt smaller. You know what I mean? So
sure.
I have women tie me down. I want to be
Uh-huh.
like in that old story where the small people tie the big man down.
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
Gulliver's Travels.
Oliver's Travels. Thank you. That's me. Tie me down. Do whatever you want to me. Wanderlust in a
Wow.
specific way. I like to wander and I love to lust.
Of course you do,
Yes.
Jeff. Well, Jeff, it's been an honor having you on the show. I gotta say, I really appreciate it.
Thank
It's
you.
not every day you get a big time celebrity on a show that doesn't have a big time celebrity as the host. So I
Um,
apprecied it.
Thank you.
No,
I've
I
had a
do.
I would
Oh, go
had
ahead. I apologize.
oh
I cut you off. What'd you say?
what?
No, my
I've had a
bad. My
wonderful
bad. What'd you
time.
say?
I've had a wonderful time.
Oh, that's nice to hear. I do have one more question for you. This one comes to me through my publicist at Ezra
Mm,
Pardia on Instagram, at Ezra Potter on Twitter. You send you questions
yes.
for him, for me, for him, for any of my guests,
Sure.
to him. And this one comes from a guy named at Grass-Fed George, who I'm gonna say looks kind of like if you, Jeff Goldblum, wasn't wearing glasses or a hat. Uh,
Uh,
yeah, a
Many
good-looking
people
fellow.
look like me. Many people look like me.
True, including Grass-Fed George on Instagram and Twitter. And he wants to know Beatles or Stones. And this is a question for me, but I'm going to ask it for you, Jeff Goldblum. Do you prefer Beatles or Stones?
Ooh, that's a good one. Well, I it's controversial probably, but I'm more of a Kinks man myself.
Oh, interesting.
I've always deviated. I've always gone off the path. I never been partial to the Beatles or the Stones. It's the Kinks and their wry sense of humor, and they're naughty, you know. They're playful.
Yeah. No, that's you know, honestly, hearing you say that, it's like, oh, that makes sense that Jeff Goldblum would like them. That's exactly right.
Thank you.
You're
It's
welcome.
so lovely to be recognized, of course. I just think they're special artists, and I hope to spread the word. They exist. I'll listen to
People
them.
forget them, and they's only remembering about these Beatles and Stones. It's like, hey, there was other rock bands, you know.
There were so many.
And I'll say, for me, if I had to pick between Beatles and Stones, I would also choose something else, which is, of course, the excellent Louisiana music of Dr. John.
Yes, wonderful, perfect.
Well, Jeff, I know you had to run. I really appreciate your time. And yeah, thank you again for being here. And, you know, good luck surviving down in the bunker. Let Sam Rockwell know if he wants to bring me any deliveries. I'd love to meet him.
I'll let him know. He's a little busy for me. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a delight.
Absolutely.
Bye.
You take care,
Bye.
Jeff. Bye. Wow. Jeff Goldblum on the show, everybody. That was exciting. Now, we do have another exciting guest who, look, I'm not only excited to meet celebrities, okay? I'm excited to meet all the regular people who I haven't had an opportunity to know. And this one is somebody who I met a long time ago. Don't remember where, don't remember how, but we're about to find out. Her name is Jenna Grace, excuse me. Jenna, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. That's your cue to turn on them mics and videos. Oh, there you are, Jenna.
Living. Say that do.
Jenna, hey, use on the show, Jenna.
You want it? Oh, sorry, I didn't see
You're
it.
playing a little bit of Rolling Stones right now, huh?
Oh, believe it or not, it wasn't the Rolling Stones. That was my latest, greatest magnum opus.
What? That was your song? White Horses is your song, Jenna Grass?
Oh, Lester, it has been a minute or two, and I just wanted to say hello to all my fans out there. I'm Jenna Glass, and for all you Francophiles, yes, that means ice cream in French. A little trivia to that.
I thought it was referring to the substance that makes all of our windows be windows.
It's a very multifaceted last name, just like a window pane, Lester. The more you know.
That makes sense. Now I know more. Thank you, Jenna.
Now, as you may know, or as you may have just heard, I'm a storyteller. And I tell my story through song. And I'm also inspired by places. And as you may know, Lester, I used it as a consultant for one of my latest albums, talking about places. I wanted to get down and dirty about what it was like to live in a bunker. The last couple of albums did really, really great. I did, my first album was called Beaches. It was about
I remember that one.
The beach. My second album was called
A lot of songs about sand on that one.
Oh, so many songs about sand. I had a
very focused on how the sand is good and it's hot, but it's also sometimes bad when it gets stuck in all those places.
I had a song called Sandy. I had a song called Sand in My Toes. I had a song that was called Sand in Places You Didn't Even Know That You Could Get Sand. That's one of my least favorite places that I've ever been, actually.
And that was such an interesting song because that one was all about how sometimes you get sand in your television. And I didn't really understand that one.
I know. It makes the picture all grainy. But you don't know except through experience. And that's another thing I'm passionate about. Experience and places. So the album that came after Beaches was an album called City Girl, which really was a smash hit for the urban dwellers among us.
Yeah, and that was a surprising album too, because when I went to listen to it, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be all about how you live in a city. But then no, it was all about banking at Citibank.
Oh my God. I had a song called ATM. I had a song called Help, Help. I'm locked in the ATM after hours and my card isn't working. Okay. I had a song called We're Going Contactless. Don't Touch Me, which you could say was really ahead of its time, was it not?
Yeah, it was because this was 2006.
That was That was pre-COVID. That was pre-COVID.
Uh-huh.
And I also had a song called American Express is Courting Me and Hey, Take Me to Dinner First. That had more of a country flair.
Yeah.
So
That one I understood because that one was like, hey, look, I'm not going to sign up for your credit card company until you take me to dinner, which
I know.
I always say that. You take me to
like,
a meal if you want to do business.
My last name is never going to be Jenna American Express, okay? It's always going to be Jenna Glass. I'm a feminist like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
And it was weird that they wanted you to change your name to American Express when all they was trying to get you to do was have a credit card.
Oh my God. And the breakup of that, it was
Mm-hmm.
called Going for Broke. My card doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry, I get emotional when I talk about that period of my life.
No, I know.
So,
Citibank, American Express, they was doing you wrong. And I'm glad they's doing you right now and sponsoring your new album.
Well, I have a huge announcement to make tonight, Lester, and it's just fortuitous that you have me on the show. Because in between City Girl and right now, I did release a very little EP. It was called Streets, Songs of Living in the City. And that was okay. That was like an extended play. That was more of like a day-to-day slice of life little experience. But I'm pleased to announce to you and to all my fans out there that tonight isn't just me and my old pal Lester in the bunker, one of my favorite places, talking shop. I am announcing my latest piece of work, the name of the album art, a track list, and if you're lucky, I might take some requests and play a few tunes.
Oh, that sounds great.
Are you ready for the announcement?
Oh, very, very, very ready, Jenna. Very ready, Jenna.
Okay, here it comes. My latest album that I've written all during lockdown in quarantine. It's inspired by my newest favorite place. And the name of the album is, here we go. I'm going to share my screen. I haven't been on a computer in years. I've just been attached to this ukulele. But here we go. The name of the album is, here we go. It's called Return to the Woods, a forest fairy tale of dreams by me, a storyteller.
Wow. That's a very descriptive name.
I'm not going to lie. It wasn't my first choice for the name. I know it's a mouthful. I was just going to call it Folklore, but apparently it's been done. My publicist, Tudor Pond, told me that someone else came out with an album during this time called Folklore. So I decided I'm a storyteller. I tell my story through song, but I can also tell my story through my album art. So I just wanted it to encompass the whole vision of the piece, of the opus. It's an album about forests. It's about foliage. It's about fairy tales. It's about autumn. It's about freedom. And it's about friendship.
Wow, well, that's exciting. I mean, it sounds like what you've been doing to get through the COVID situation is heading yourself out to the woods, taking in all of what the woods has to offer and turning it into music, which honestly, that's a great use of your time.
Well, thank you so much. It was so inspiring. And I painted a picture with words and music from all the objects around me. Now, would you like to hear the name of the track list?
I would love to hear the track list, yes. Let's go one by one, though. Tell me just about the first song first, okay?
Okay. The first song is very important to me. It's got a lot of meaning. It's called Sweater.
Sweater. Now, is that about how sometimes when it gets hot out, you sweat a lot?
Oh, it sure is. It's sort of like a precursor to fall foliage. Like, you know that the fall is just going to sneak up on you and just grab you around the shoulders and say, hey, it's going to get cold outside soon. You're going to have the whole day to snuggle inside or head out to play. You might want to put on a sweater.
Oh, it's about the clothing sweater. Okay. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah.
But hold on, because what you don't yet know is that Sweater is an 8-minute long song because you think it's going to be about the item of clothing. But then you put it on and hey, it's September 8th. And it's still like 80 degrees on both coasts. And you're waiting for the bus. Or maybe you're walking down to the subway. Or maybe you're returning to the woods like I did. And you just get a little bit of back sweat. And that's not just sweat, it's poetry.
You know what I've always found interesting about sweaters and what this reminded me of is that when you put on a sweater, you kind of become a sweater yourself.
Oh my God. Lester, if I didn't say so already, I love places, I love music, but one thing I love almost as much as both of those two things is the
Uh-huh.
metaphor. Or in this case, you could call it a sweataphor.
Well, I'm not really sure it was a metaphor, but I love what you said. Now, tell
Sweater,
me a little
sweater
bit.
metaphor.
Sweataphor. Yeah, no, I like Sweataphor. And I think I hope your next album is called Sweataphor and it's all sweater metaphors.
That's the name of my backup band, the Sweaterphor. They're all
Well,
wearing mixed knits on stage. It's like a cotton poly blend, and also a blend of instruments.
well, that makes sense. Now tell me. Oh, actually, I have a question for you from the chat here. That one guy, Connor something, says, I can't help but notice that Miss Glass's record resembles another famous record released just last month. Oh, must be talking about Folklore by Taylor Swift. Is that a matter she can discuss, or is there a lawsuit in progress? Oh, that's right. So yeah, did you have to change your name because of because you said you had to change your name because of the Folklore already existing? But is Taylor Swift's team still coming after you for making an album that seems so similar?
Well, here's the thing. I would be so down to do a collaboration with Taylor. All she'd have to do is ask. In fact, I would be willing to throw that whole lawsuit out the window. I would have them make it a lost sweater, to be honest. Have it made.
So there is a lawsuit.
Say the Folklore and Return to the Woods, A Forest Fairy Tale of Dreams by a Storyteller cardigan on there. I would be willing to do that, like two peas in a pod. Unfortunately, yes, there is pending litigation. That's also why I'm hiding in the woods. You can't get served if you can't be found.
That's very true. Now, I won't ask you to give away.
That's off the record. That's off the record. That's a different kind of record. It's not as fun as the record I just produced.
Now, I wouldn't ask you to give away your specific location and get you in trouble or anything, but I do want to know, what woods is those?
Oh, they're the Gray Woods. They're just north of the 305, heading west in the northeast.
Okay, yeah. So that's up there in the New England area. Is that right?
Yeah, approximately. The Kennedy territory.
Oh, sure, yeah. You ever know a Kennedy?
I sure did know a Kennedy. His name was Colin Kennedy, and there actually is an album on a song on the album dedicated to him, and a very special time in our lives.
Okay.
It's called "The King of the Coffee Cups," and I actually have right here a custom Connor Kennedy coffee cup. That's merch we're going to be selling just as soon as we get rid of that pesky cease and desist order from the
Sure, yeah, the lawsuits make it real tough. I got a suggestion for you from that one guy, Connor something, in the chat. He says, if I may suggest, quote, you can't be served if you can't be found, unquote, sounds like a great lyric for a chorus. Ooh. He thinks you should write that one down.
Is it you can't be served if you can't be found? Well, that sounds like that would be a great chorus for song number 6 on the album. And this is actually one that was really emotional for me, but I was having a tough time finishing it. It's called Song.
Wait,
Songbird.
So I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I do have to ask. So you have a song on the album that is not finished, even though the album is out?
Here's the thing. It's got a very open to interpretation instrumental bridge, one of which freestyled over. But the great thing about returning to the woods is that once you return, it's like you never really left. You can always return many times to the woods, and that's kind of what I think about this album. So you can't be served if you can't be found. I think would tie in very nicely to song number 6. Songbird flying free into the night of freedom.
That's a mouthful.
Songbird flying free into the night of freedom. And I don't know if that guy Connor something is interested in a jam sesh. I mean, maybe I could play a few bars for the group right now.
Well, yeah, actually, that's great. We're coming up on time to get to the next guest, get him involved. So it'll be perfect for you to play a little song before we do that.
All right, let me just get the old ukulele all ready to go once.
Okay, yeah, and I know you said that if that one guy Connor something wanted to make it a jam session, he could. So Connor, at home while Jenna is playing right now, you can also play along.
All right. Here we go. So this is a songbird flying into the night of freedom. overlaid with a suggested chorus. You can't be served if you can't be found. So here we go.
Very excited. This is a debut version.
Today was gonna be the day they're gonna throw it back to you.
Oh, I did think this was familiar.
Can't be served if you're hiding out in the woods.
Okay, slight change.
That anybody could fly away like me, a songbird that can't be found. When you're flying.
Jenna, I'm worried about copyright rules now because I just got to cut you off real quick. I know you have a history of lawsuits, so I think maybe you don't quite understand, but actually playing another person's song on a stream like this could really get the stream in trouble, so I got to cut it off. But that did sound great. I mean, you sounded great. I love the adaptation of the words you did. It's just that I'm pretty sure that was Wonderwall by Oasis.
No, I swear on the woods and on the cabin that I'm currently staying in, that was Songbird Springing into the Night of Freedom with You Can't Be Served If You Can't Be Found by Jenna Glass. And
No, thank you. I was just going to give him credit too. That's great. I'm glad you did that yourself. Now, and hey, listen, I want that to be true and I want you to not get sued for that, but it is 100% the chord progression from Oasis's Wonderwall, and you even just like tweak the lyrics just a little bit, so it's like and how many songs on the album are pure? Because the first song you was playing was absolutely White Horses by the Rolling Stones, and now you're playing me a song that's pretty much Wonderwall by Oasis. We gotta get to my next guest, but maybe at the end of the show, if there's one song of yours that you can say to me, this one, I did the chords myself. I did the lyrics myself. It's 100% original. I'd love to hear it, but we can't do that right now. So you got time to prep that, okay?
All right, Lester, I'm going to retreat to the woods and then I'll return and perhaps you'll have yourself a little treat if you're lucky.
I hope so because I want your album to succeed. I like you and I like your music, but it's just that your music happens to be already other people's music. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say it's all an open interpretation collaboration. That's what being a storyteller is all about. It's weaving it all into one big tapestry. That's true.
That makes sense to me. But I have one more question for you. It's actually for me, but I'm going to ask it of you as well. And this one comes to me through my publicist at Ezra Potter on Instagram. Nope, Ezra Potter on Twitter, at Ezra Partier on Instagram. From a woman whose name is at Miss Elizabeth Content on those things as well. And Miss Elizabeth Content looks kind of like if you put down the ukulele, you took off the hat.
Why would I do that? It's part of who I am.
I don't know why you would.
It's also part of my disguise from the cease and desist order from the King of the Coffee Cups.
I will say, if it's who you are and part of your disguise, it's probably not a very effective disguise. But the question is, if you were a cocktail, what would you be called? Well, if I was a cocktail, that cocktail would be called Lester Pipps, and because it's named after me, right? If I was a cocktail, that's what I would be. But I will say, if we was making a Lester Pipps cocktail, it would be a 1 part Bayou rum, 1 part spicy chicken strip. Jenna, if you was a cocktail, what would you be called?
Oh my goodness, I would be called the Earl Grey cardigan. And on top of me, there would just be 1 floating tiny piece of sage and perhaps a branch.
Okay, so you wouldn't be a drink, you'd be a sweater with sage and a branch on it.
Oh, it would just be straight vodka and there would be a big chunk of ice in it. That's why you'd need the cardigan.
That makes sense. Okay, well, Jenna, please prep that song. We come back to you at the end, but it's time for me to get to...
I'll be ready and waiting. Just going to fight up the words.
And if you have any questions for my next guest, you can ask him as well. But my next guest is somebody I'm very excited to introduce as well, and that's a guy named Rob Canterbury. Rob, thank you so much for being on the show. Please join us.
Hello,
Dan
Lester. How you
Canterbury. I
doing?
knew I got it wrong. It's Dan Canterbury.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
so
Dan.
sorry.
I'm Dan Canterbury. Yeah, I sorry, must have been some kind of mix-up. I think I gave my name to your publicist, but I was drunk.
Yeah.
Maybe he was drunk. One of us was
No,
drunk.
yeah, he wrote it in the right in one place and wrong in another place. So it's
That
his
always
fault, not
happens to
mine.
me.
I'm so sorry about that, Dan. But Dan Canterbury, thank you for being here.
Lester, thanks for having me. I am just such a big fan. But I'm a big fan with one big point of criticism.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's right, Lester. You talk about, chicken, getting the right chicken recipe to save the apocalypse. I never hear you talk about dipping that chicken in anything. You're just eating this chicken dry.
Well, that's an interesting point. Now, I do think that if you spice your chicken correctly, you don't need no sauce, okay? But I value a good sauce from time to time. But for the most part, I'm like, man, if we can get these chicken strips the right spicy level, then we don't need no sauce. Is you telling me I'm wrong?
I'm not telling you you're wrong, but I'm just going to say you come at this from a whole other direction. Like maybe you don't need to get the spices right if you get the right sauce. This is kind of my whole evangelical point. The apocalypse is a time when we're all going to have to eat things like we didn't think we'd have to eat. Your food is going to go bad. Your 90-day supply of cream corn, you're going to misread the label. It's going to go bad. You're going to have to go out there hunting. You're going to you're going to spill the guts of a rat right inside its rib cage. It's going to spoil the meat. And you're going to have to eat all these things. But, a good hot sauce, a good honey mustard, that's going to carry you through.
Wow, I never considered the possibility of accidentally spoiling a rat carcass and then not having anything to dip it in. That's terrifying. Now, so you saying what you do to plan for the apocalypse is just make sure you got dipping sauces in your place?
That's right. I got all sorts of dips. I got 50 different hot sauces, 7 different kinds of mustard, a nice morphine dip for any kind of pain relief, wine, which I consider a dip. Water also a dip. It can be a dip. I don't know if if you get a competitive hot dog eater, they are dipping those buns in the water, and that is getting them right down your throat real quick.
Yeah, it's not so much about flavor as it is about swallowing, but it's still a dip if you dip in.
That's right. Lester, you're speaking my language.
Yeah, no, I hear you. A lot of people was doing a lot of dip when I was the video coordinator for the LSU football Tigers. They was doing the tobacco style dip, which I don't consider a dip because you don't actually dip anything in it. You dip it into your lip, when that's gross.
I absolutely consider that a dip. I actually consider anything you chew a dip.
Really? So gum's a dip?
Gum is a dip.
How is gum a dip, Dan?
Well, you chew it.
Okay, yeah, I guess it follows your logic.
Go back. I believe it was your logic, Lester.
No, that was your logic. I don't think that's true. For me, a dip is something you dip some food in and then you eat. Dip's got to be liquid. Dip's got to be wet. The song WAP is about dip, if you ask me.
Look, wet ass pussy is definitely a dip.
I don't know that we want to take the show in that direction, but it's for sure
I'm
true.
sorry.
No, that's not your fault. That's on me. But yeah, so Dan, so what you're doing, what your advice here is for folks who's at home thinking how they're going to get through this apocalypse. You're saying all you got to do is make sure you got good dip. I mean, that can't be all you're doing. Is you in a bunker or what?
Well, yeah, I'm actually in the demilitarized zone called Ayahuasca Noise. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
Tell me what that is. I don't know.
It's directly at the intersection of Iowa, Wisconsin, and Illinois. And it's a free trade demilitarized zone. The United States has no jurisdiction.
What? I never heard of that. That's amazing.
Yeah. You don't get it confused with the Ayahuasca Noise you may have seen opening up for Fish.
Oh no, because that's a music band.
Indeed.
Okay, yeah, because they do jam rock, if I remember correctly.
They do 20-minute long exploratory jam sessions, which if you're under the right influence, maybe they're good. I don't like to judge other people's music. I was a big fan of that Jenna. I actually had no idea she would be on. I have Beaches and I have City Girl. I'm very excited about that very long titled album that I cannot quite remember.
Oh my God.
Oh, Jenna, feel free to turn your video on if you want to interact.
Sorry, I was moved to tears. I didn't want him to see my face like that, but it's so nice to meet a fan, especially one from the intersection of Wisconsin and Illinois in the demilitarized zone. It is a real pleasure, Dan.
You got a great fan. Let me tell you, Ayahuasca Noise, it's a Jenna Glaze country all the way.
Ayahuasca noise. Oh, that sounds like that would be a wonderful name for my next magnum opus. Are you a singer, Dan?
You tell me.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Wow, we got another band forming on the show. I love it when this happens. It's surprising how many times it's happened, and I love it. Now, so Jenna, you knew about Ayahuasca Noise? You heard of this place before?
I sure did. That was on my list of places that I was going to try and go next, but of course it all had to be put on hold due to COVID and my impending litigation.
That
Well,
does make sense.
I'm happy to say that Ayahuasca Noise has absolutely no lockdown in effect whatsoever. So feel free to come out here.
Oh,
Wait,
God.
that's true? Y'all's not taking COVID seriously up there?
No, not at all. This is a bib.
Dan, I gotta listen. Okay, there are a few things on the show where I say, hey, listen, you guessed are wrong. But when somebody tells me that the COVIDs isn't real, that's when I'm like, hey, hold up a minute. Dan, the COVIDs is very real.
No one's saying it's not real.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're just not doing anything about it.
Oh, okay. No, that's cool. That's just
We got our
America.
hot
I get that.
sauces.
Yeah, no.
You get a bad
okay.
cold. You just pour some Tapatio right on a bowl of rice. Scarf it down. That clears your sinuses out. I believe that's the main thing, right? The sinuses?
Well, no, there's a whole lot more than that. I don't want to look, when this show gets too much into what's real about COVID, it's not as fun. So I'm not going to do that. But I will say, no, you real wrong about that one.
Agree to disagree, Lester.
Fair enough. That happens on the show sometimes too. But Dan, so tell me a little bit about what you was doing before the COVIDs. Was you and Jenna definitely participate as much as or as little as you want in this conversation. But Dan, tell me what was your life like before COVIDs? Was you evangelicalizing about the dipping sauces before too?
Well, I'd always been a dip enthusiast, a sauce enthusiast. I have a more expansive view of what a dip and a sauce is. For a long time, I worked at a Dodge dealership. I helped people get cash back on their Dodge Caravans when they trade them in. Just help them get a tremendous amount of cash back.
Yeah.
Like half the value of the Dodge Caravan they would get in cash back. I think it might have actually been a racket by my boss, but I didn't really ask questions those days. I was a young man. I was just interested in getting people the best deal and also hot sauces.
That's interesting. Wow. Now, go ahead, Jenna. You had something?
Oh, I was just amazed. What a story. I'm really very much drawn to storytellers and people who are passionate about telling their stories through song. And I just want to say, Dan, that was incredibly inspiring. And it also made me want to ask one question, if I may.
Go ahead.
Dan, what's the place that inspires you most in the world?
This would be apart from Ayahuasca Noise, which is, of course, the most inspirational place I can imagine.
A revelation.
A revelation. Yeah, you got Jenna. You've got the heart of a poet and the voice of also a poet, I guess.
Wow.
And really, the place would be the most inspiration to me. I think it would have to be Disney World. I know it's trite, but I just love that little mouse.
Wow. Wow.
That's very surprising to me. For somebody who lives in a demilitarized zone, for their favorite thing to be such an American icon as Disney World is
Lester,
very surprising.
You're forgetting demilitarized, not militarized.
Oh, did I say militarized? I meant to say demilitarized.
No, but it is. That's what I'm saying. There's no violence in Ayahuasca Noise. We're completely demilitarized.
Well, that's good.
Our police carry flowers.
Really? Do they hand them out or do they hoard them?
Oh, they will not give them away for anything.
Oh, that's too bad.
They get very angry.
Really? Uh-oh. Are they beating people with flowers? Oh, that's not funny. I don't want to ask that. But are they beating people with flowers?
We should probably change the subject. But I've got another important question. And it's also
please.
Excuse me. I think I got something in my throat. I was warming up off camera for our jam. Dad.
Oh no, Jenna.
Boy.
Wow.
I hope that's
you got some forest in your throat.
Thing we're not talking about.
I was curious. I might need to drink from my king of coffee cups.
Yeah, I might get some sauce on there. Yeah.
Yeah, take a moment.
Water
It's
sauce.
okay.
I was curious about the twisted pretzel atop your chapeau.
Oh yes, yeah. Well, I mean, pretzels, of course, date back to the monks living in Bavaria in the 10th century. They are meant to represent a child in prayer. And I, when I hit my knees every night, I pray for exactly one pretzel a day. I usually get it. I have to go to the store to purchase it, but generally that's, I feel like give God a real like easy one, slow one over the plate, and he'll deliver for you.
Wow, what a story.
Well, that makes sense. I'm surprised to hear. Again, it seems like so when I hear somebody lives in a demilitarized zone that is autonomous and not part of the nation, I think, okay, that's probably like some kind of anarchist, probably an atheist, probably anti-capitalist. But then this version of that person is somebody who lives in that zone but loves Disney World and prays every night.
Mm-hmm.
Very surprising. Now, is you praying to Jesus God or is you praying to somebody else?
I tend to mix it up. Sometimes it's Allah, sometimes it's Yahweh, sometimes it's Jehovah. Those are all the same God, though. Isn't that nice?
Yeah,
I think that's really nice.
Well, hey, it sounds like your life out there is surprising and different, but very interesting. And I hope nobody. Is there a lot of COVID in this demilitarized zone? I gotta ask you, is there a lot of COVIDs in there? You got lots of COVIDs in there?
Well, we have absolutely no testing, so no.
Okay, I can't go off on this tangent. Jenna, I hope you can round this show out with well, no, wait, I'm sorry. I got one more thing to do before we get to your song, Jenna. And that is Dan Canterbury. I have a question coming to me from my publicist at Ezra Potter on Twitter, at Ezra Potter on Instagram, from a guy named at Rob Tunstall Music, who, wow, yeah, looks kind of like if you wasn't wearing a pretzel hat. That's interesting.
Don't trust it.
Yeah. Rob Tunstall Music asks, "Do you enjoy peas?" Yeah, they're fine. Well, Dan Canterbury, do you enjoy peas?
Dan Canterbury enjoys a pea.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Jenna Grass, do you enjoy a pea?
Do I enjoy a P? I enjoy a P, especially if it's followed by the letters LACE. Play.
Okay, Jenna Grass loves a place. Jenna, I hope you have that song ready.
I'm ready. Now, I have a question. Due to pending litigation, if we sing the song a cappella, is that legally okay to do on your show?
Well, I asked you for an original song, so let's do this. Why don't you go ahead and whatever it is you was gonna do it, and I will tell you in the middle.
Okay, that's great. Because
it should be an original song.
The title, it's an original tune. I swear.
Okay.
I just made it up just now. Listening to Dan Canterbury's story. So it's a mouthful, but it's inspired by recent events that I have just heard about. It's from my latest album, coming to you at a record store in 2021, called Ayahuasca Noise, the Dan Canterbury story. And this song is called I might burst in tears because I just love it so much. But it's called
we are at time, so please do it.
Dodge Disneyland Dip, and it goes like this. Another turning point of force stuck in the road.
Okay, that's...
You go to Ayahuasca Noise, hand eat a toad. Your name is Dan, you're gonna dip it in some sauce and work good for a dealer, and his name is Dodge. It's something unpredictable, and in the end it's right. I hope you had the time.
Yeah, that's definitely a Green Day song. Well, I gotta cut you off right there because you are doing a Green Day song, and I definitely I think there's somebody who's supposed to be on it after.
It felt like a legally distinct melody to me.
Well, I hope that's true, and I hope you know more than I do. But we do have to go. So let me just say thank you to both of you for being here. Also to Jeff Goldblum. And if you want to know who, and thank you to the Pack Theater. And I gotta go. This is a really rushed ending. I apologize. Thanks everybody for listening. Okay, we gotta get off the stream. Okay, stopping live stream.